afternoon, and I'm here with John Sullivan. So thanks a lot, Dr. John Sullivan. So thanks a lot for joining me. And we were talking a bit about what you think HR and recruiting people don't do. So I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on that.
Well, if you study practices or best practices, business practices that are common, like risk analysis, common in every business function, does not exist in HR. Well, risk analysis is essentially insurance. What is the probability of the tsunami coming? What is the likely damage? Can it be mitigated? And so you don't want a business like with Hewlett-Packard. Their CEO filled out a form wrong, had a little love affair going, and the stock went down $11 billion. So if you should have assessed that and not let your CEO do crazy stuff, have someone check all his work, but an $11 billion error is the biggest error HP's ever had in its history. So it's looking at those errors. So what could happen, but the probability, this is zero probability, and then can it be mitigated? So if you can solve it, then you buy insurance. It's okay. Bank robbery, it's like you could solve bank robbery, or you just buy insurance. But the other is, can you avoid it? Can you mitigate or to the point where it doesn't really cost you anything?
So what types of HR issues would you do risk assessment for?
Well, first in recruiting is the cost of a bad hire. What if you don't fire people and they stay 10 years? The cost of hire, which is a silly cost of how much to put an ad in the paper, but the real cost is, no, this person's going to get $50,000 a year for the next 10 years. It's like a lease. You signed a lease.
Yeah.
Well, that's $500,000. That's a big expense. Normally, you'd have a committee examining it, but no, we let some individual manager make this decision. So some companies like Google, which are really leaders, they do not allow managers to hire.
Right.
They don't trust managers to hire because managers are selfish. They'll hire people like them. They'll hire short-term needs. No, they have to have a broader approach that says, what does the company need in the next 10 years? Because we're renting this building, leasing this building for the next 10 years. It better be a good building. So the cost of a bad hire, the cost of a great hire that quits within the first month because of bad onboarding, or a manager yells at them or whatever, we lied to them and they say that's not true. Certainly retention of any kind is important, but in business you prioritize. So it's not anybody leaving the company. It's revenue generating people. It's top
specific
performers.
position,
Right.
top performer.
Or people. So sometimes there's context. So the other thing that after risk analysis is, what is the value or the cost of HR output? So what if you have a great retention program? It costs $1 million. But how much does it save? If it saves Tiger Woods or some great superstar.
Right.
It's so when you say, if you have a golf team and one person leaves, Tiger Woods, you have a 1% turnover rate if you have 100 people, but you have a hell of a problem.
Right.
You lost millions of dollars. So convert HR turnover rates to dollar cost. And then if they go to competitors, so if Tiger Woods leaves, you lose $100 million. But if he goes to the next door competitor golf team, you lost $200 million.
More, yeah.
So it's looking at this from what is the dollar impact of all the important things we do. So what if we underpay people? You think you save money. So I call them out-of-pocket costs, other pocket costs. So you have one accounting pocket, which is, well, we cut your salary in half. We actually save salary dollars. But the other pocket is, but you quit and you went to the competitor. But we don't connect those accounts. So what HR needs to do, training. I was working in a hospital, they cut nurse training. Saved $600,000. But they lost $600,000 worth of nurses in one day. And then the accident rate went through the roof, and then the insurance rate went through. So it cost them $6 million to save $600,000. So that's what we call an American stupid. But it's not connecting the pockets. And come on, HR knows what cost is. It doesn't know the impact. So if you know what the impact is and say, if you cut training, it won't, the first day, people won't hurt people, but they might quit. And then down the road, it'll be a month or a year or whatever it is, there'll be that damage. And eventually it'll ruin your image as a brand, and then no one will work for you. So first, risk analysis of things we do, but then quantify what we do in dollars. So